attending our live sessions. That is very important, not only just for this class, but for all your classes. That's something that we talked about in our staff meeting, is that if you don't attend the live meet, then you're going to have to do more to make up that time. Okay. And so I posted something about that this morning. That's not like a threat. That's not to that's not to ruin your day or anything. But again, we have to make sure we're all on the same page. So that'll take place. That'll be the policy going forward. Okay. I'm not going to punish you retroactively. I don't believe in retroactive punishment. I think that's silly. So, but I do want to make sure that we're on the same page going forward. So you are, when you are not in class, you are required to join our live Google Meet sessions, unless, hey, if there's something going on, if you got an emergency, if you got a doctor's or dentist appointment, if you got to go to work, something like that, then just talk to me. Like, email me, talk to me. We can make that work. We can figure something out there. But if you're just skipping, then that's what we're trying to make sure it doesn't happen. Okay, so I just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right, Maddie, Meredith. Let me finish taking attendance real quick, and then we'll get rolling. I really like our topic today. I like our topics most days, but I really like our topic today. All right, Paris, Parker, Reagan, and I already got Savannah, Thomas. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at our bell ringer. All right. So here's what we got today. So we're going to go over our bell ringer real quick. Then we're going to look at the problems. We'll look at the problems with Aristotelian logic. Again, when we say the word Aristotelian, who are we talking about? Aristotle, right? Very good. So again, I just want to reiterate. You're going to hear me say this multiple times, but we'll make sure that we understand. And we're talking about really the foundation of Greek philosophy, and then kind of what comes after that. And there's a lot of philosophies that we'll talk about in the course semester, but we keep referring back to kind of those first big three: Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Why those three? Socrates is seen as the founder, is the father of Western philosophy. Plato was the student of Socrates. And again, we'll talk much more about them in the future. I know we've talked a lot about the third one, Aristotle. Aristotle being the student of Plato. We've talked a lot about him over the past week and a half. The reason that we start with those three is, again, they're kind of the foundation. Aristotle was then the teacher of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great one would come from most of the Western world, which is how Western philosophy, how and why it is different than Eastern philosophy. Okay? So, looking at a quote from Aristotle today, we're going to talk about problems with Aristotelian logic. So, quote for today: the roots of education are bitter, the fruit is sweet. I'll repeat it one more time. The roots of education are bitter, the fruit is sweet. Aristotle. Gannon, what do you think? When you read this, what do you think that means? What do you think Aristotle's trying to tell us?
The work that has to be done to learn is hard, but the reward pays a dividend.
Oh, very good. The reward pays a dividend. Very good. So hard work is not necessarily always fun. Sometimes it's bitter. Sometimes it's not always what we want to do, but it does pay the end. That's how I feel with like cleaning the house. I hate cleaning the house. That's not something I'm good at, nor something I enjoy. But when I'm done with it, man, I feel freaking great. I'm like, you know what? I actually accomplished something today. Like Monday, clean the gutters. That's not like, I'm not saying that's like a really hard job. It's just an inconvenient job. Because you're just going up and down a ladder, you're getting on top of the house, you're scooping all that nasty stuff, you get in these gutters, you're throwing it, you're washing them out. I had to kind of scrub a little bit because it's looking a little dingy, and they're white, and when white gets dingy, it don't look good. It took about 2 hours. That wasn't the hardest work I've ever done. But again, it's not necessarily something I wanted to do, but at the end of it, you know what? That looks odd. That looks odd. And you fit in that reward, just that having that feeling of content was enough to make me say, hey, you know what? I'll find something else that's dirty. I'm clean. Serious? It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I'm telling you. I'll tell you this again because I want to. Yeah, I'll share with you what's helped me throughout my life. Anytime I felt like I don't want to use the word depressed, but anytime I felt like really down in the dumps, really kind of self-defeating attitude, the two things that have always helped me is like one, like running. Like running has always been like a tool for me because like you set a goal and then you just keep going until you get there, and it's like not fun. It's not fun during. Never had fun. Oh, well, yeah, okay. It's not like oh man, it's the greatest thing in the world. No, it's like I'm just telling myself, look, you just gotta keep going, you gotta keep going. When you finally reach your destination, whether that be a leap to destination, whether that be a actual physical place, feel good. You're like, you know what, man, that was a good feeling. I'm glad I accomplished. I got something done. Then you have like the endorphins that like exercise brings, and then also like again, like I got something just like cleaning. Like I do not like to clean, but anytime where I really felt like down and just like man, I don't know what to do. I just hating myself, like cleaning something, straightening something up, fixing something makes me feel better. Because again, it's not something I necessarily wanted to do, but I did it anyway. And at the end of it, I know I've accomplished something. And having that feeling of accomplishment makes you feel better. I don't know if that helps you. Again, we're all different people, but that's some stuff that has helped me throughout my lifetime. All right. Let's see, Casey, when you read this, what did you think?
I thought that it meant that learning was difficult, but the knowledge is worth it.
Learning is difficult, but the knowledge is worth it. Very good. Very good. Very good. Let's see. So some of you are, kind of early or earlier in your high school career. Some of you, you're in the last stage of it. You're in the last stage of it. I think that's something you need to think about because again, you're going to move on, but you need to think the things that you've learned along the way. When you're like growing up, you guys are still kind of in that stage. Really, I mean, but if you're asking people, you ask other people, like, do you like school? Do you enjoy school? Most of the time they say, well, I enjoy the social aspect of it. I ask people what they miss about school the most, and it's never, you know what? I really like writing papers. I really enjoy that. You know what? I really like the quadratic equation. That's kind of my thing. I don't hear people say that too often. What I hear is, you know what? I miss the social aspect. I miss seeing my friends. I miss talking to people. That is what people enjoy in high school. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's you, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, I have met people that really like the hard work all the time. But that is actually what you take along with you. I'll share one more thing with you and then we'll move on. When I graduated high school, I'm gonna be real honest with you, okay? Because again, I think that's the only way. I'm a teacher, so I just have to be honest with you. When I graduated high school with 2.6 GPA. Now, I'll tell you why, because I just didn't put any effort. Did enough to kind of stay out of trouble. Michael, my parents, as long as I had B's, I could kind of keep them off my back, right? Like I would get in trouble, or they would say, you're better than this. You need to try harder. But as long as I got B's, I wasn't like punished.
My friends prefer me.
And they live with it, right? They're not like, you get punished when you get B's? If you get a C. Maybe. Okay, all right. Same here. So I just did enough to get B's. They would always be like, I don't know about y'all, but English we had summer reading to do. They could write this like long paper about the book we read over the summer, and it was like a assigned book. I never did that. And so I always had like a 0 going in, like starting off the semester, with a big 0 that I had to climb my way out of that hole, right? So I just didn't do anything I didn't really want to do. Anything that was really hard, I just tried to do enough. Well, my senior year came around, then there, I don't know. Y'all ever heard of senioritis? Heard of it? You feeling that? Yeah. It's like, man, you're like right at the end, and it's just like, I just want to slow down for a minute, dude. I know this has been a sprint the whole way. I'm tired. I'm tired. Senioritis is a real thing. So having in my senior year, I started getting tired. Tired of what? I don't feel like I was trying that hard at school anyway. I was focused on what the sport aspect.
That was my sophomore year.
Did I sophomore you get senioritis as a sophomore? Oh man. Oh man. Well, you get to the end and you start, man, I'm just going to coast into the finish line. I coasted a little too far. Coasted a little too far. And like the B's that I've been getting just to kind of stay afloat, now they were turning into C, D, and then, unfortunately, again, I'll be honest with you, I failed Spanish 2 the last semester of my senior year. GPA fell off a cliff. Not that it was great anyway, but it fell off a cliff. And that's what kept me from like playing baseball at like a university level. Because you got to have 2-4 lanes. So what I really wanted to do, I really for myself, because I didn't try hard. I didn't try hard. Because I didn't like the hard work. Because guess what? The roots of education are bitter. It's not. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't feel great. But the accomplishment you get and what you take with you is worth it. Is worth it. And I will say this, I did learn something from my mistakes in high school. I went to college, I graduated college. I did pretty good. All right. So, all right, let me check on, okay. We had a couple more add. I'll make sure to get you, Ben, I see you added in. Live, see you. Okay. I'll check again towards the end. Just want to make sure I got everybody. All right. So we're going to look at our notes. So our notes today, problems. Where's my remote? Oh, my. Boom. There we go. So our notes today are well, this is pulling up. I'm just going to bide my time. I ain't got any good stand-up comedy material. This would be perfect time for it. Problems with Aristotelian logic. When we talked about Aristotelian logic on Thursday, we talked about Aristotelian logic on Tuesday. We went through some of like the basic rules of Aristotelian logic. And we've really been talking about this for about the past week and a half, because we've been looking at those like arguments, premise A, premise B, conclusion. Socrates is a man. All men are mortal, therefore Socrates is immortal. Is a mortal, not him. Again, we've been doing that for about the past week and a half. This is still pulling up very slowly. Okay. So we've been talking about Aristotelian logic for, again, a little bit of time now. There are some issues with it. There are some problems with it. Here's the thing. I don't know of anything in philosophy that is 100%. Oh no, I don't want you to see my rant. I'm going to go on that later. I'm going to do that later. I don't want to prematurely rant. That'd be like getting senioritis when you're a sophomore. All right. So I don't know anything in philosophy that does not have holes to be picked in it. Now you may think, well, then why are we studying this if there's so many problems with it? I'm not saying there's a lot of problems with it, but there are problems in some of the theories. Just like science. That's how science works. Science is the people that come after the initial discovery. So like theory of relativity is what Einstein is most known for, right? Theory of relativity. Scientists that have come after Einstein that are interested in that topic, they're doing one of two things. They are either trying to justify Einstein's discovery, or they are trying to disprove his discovery. That's how science works. Logic is one of the more scientific branches of philosophy. Because again, we're talking, where do we see logic used the most? Math. Math. That's why they group. Hey, you know something? We'll give you a little education secret, little industry info. The reason they put math and science in the same branch, and English and history in the same branch, because they're kind of. You ever thought about that? Use math and science use science and math, history and English. They're more abstract. You may not get a perfect conclusion there. Like, what's a good book? What's a good book? What makes a good book, Zoe? Right. It's a little bit harder to answer that, right? But you can tell me what 2 plus 2 is every time. Oh, every time. Oh man, you're gonna hear this rant a little bit, gang. You're gonna hear this rant a little bit. All right, let's go. All right, so problems with Aristotelian logic. Let me present this. I'm gonna make it big so we can see it. I'm gonna turn the lights off. Don't go to sleep on me. Don't go to sleep on me. I'm gonna talk really loud and really fast so you don't. But if you do, well, I'm offended. All right, so black screen, loading. This is how old school video games used to work. You just see this page or this screen for like 10 minutes. Then you finally get to your game and it's like digital pixels just running around tackling each other. And I'm like, well, this looks nothing like football. And my dad was like, man, it's never gonna get better than this. That was in 1998. All right. So problems with Aristotelian logic. I gotta hide this stuff because that's gonna get on my nerves. Yeah, I know, sharing my screen. I'm doing a bunch of good stuff right now. All right, here we go. Loading. All right, here we go. First problem that we have with Aristotelian logic is syllogisms with false premises. So what does that mean? Okay, so this argument right here, premise A, premise B, conclusion, that is a syllogism. That's what Aristotle called these types of arguments. And this is, again, the basis of Aristotelian logic. This is how Aristotle saw, he wants to take he wants to take math and language and put it together. Man, that's crazy. All right, so syllogisms with false premises. We're not saying completely false premises. We're saying premises that can be false. So hear me out. Let's look at our example. I'll start off with an example here and then kind of explain it a little bit. So premise A, if the streets are wet, it has rained recently. Okay? 99% of the time, I've been living on this earth for 30 years. 99% of the time, I don't have this written down in any notebook or anything, so this is just kind of off my head. This is anecdotal data. I haven't got this all mapped out. But 99% of the time, when I've seen the streets wet, it's because it's raining. Right? I think we can all pretty much agree with that. When you see the streets are wet, you assume, oh man, I didn't know it rained. That's not the first thing people say. Okay, premise B, the streets are wet. So this morning, on the way to school, I look, the streets are wet. You know what I thought? If the streets are wet, if the streets are wet, it rained recently. So I am doing this morning. So the conclusion of premise A and premise B, again, for the conclusion to be true, it has to follow the premises. This follows the premises. Therefore, it has rained recently. This morning, that was true. 99% of my time on this planet, that has been true. But that doesn't mean that there can't be other possibilities. That's the problem. So, if the streets are wet, it has rained recently. Again, true, 99% of the time. But there's times when that's not the case. There's times when it's not true. So let's talk about that. So the argument is logically valid. This is a logically valid argument. Again, we understand this to be valid without really knowing all that much about logic. We talk about logic for like a week and a half. But we know when somebody says this, you do this in your own head. You look out, streets are wet. It must have rained. That is what you already think. Are streets wet? No, they're not wet. Maybe it just rained at my house. I don't know. Maybe I have a rain cloud following. That'd be terrible. So it's logically valid, but it's problematic because the first premise can be true, or the first premise is almost always true, but almost. It's not 100% invalid. So the premise can be false. What can happen? Well, I gave you a couple of examples. That's what I do. So what could have happened? A river could have flooded. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how did rivers flood? Because of the rain. So it must have rained recently. But Maybe there was a dam at first because it was built a long time ago. Or maybe it was built very recently using cheap materials and somebody crashed a kayak into it. I don't know. I'm throwing some stuff out there. Is it possible? If I can think it, it's possible. All right, so you're saying, okay, well, maybe that's happened one time in human history. Well, what else could have happened? Let's be real. Anything's possible. So is there any logic to anything? Well, hold on. Oh, you might be right on the river flood. I get your point. But what about a fire hydrant? It explodes. Not just like spontaneously combusts. Not like that. Somebody runs their car into it. And that fire hydrant just shooting out water at freaking amazing speeds that you've never seen water move at. That happens. People do that. That probably happens more so than you think. People, especially over the past, let's see, when did I send my first text message? 2002? Yeah, past 19 years. People have probably ran into more fire hydrants than they did the first, I don't know, pre-2002. People texting and driving. Read a newspaper and driving? I've seen people do that. I saw this woman this morning. I was at the gas station, right? So I'm getting gas. I look over, and she's pulling up beside, pulling up to the gas station, getting gas right beside me. She has a toothbrush in her mouth. I was just like, I mean, I guess that's kind of efficient. I just didn't expect to see a toothbrush out of this woman's mouth. So, fire hydrant could have exploded. What else could have happened? Somebody could have hosed down the street. I got a neighbor who's got plants. Sometimes he goes out there and waters them. If I was to look out, the window and I see the street is wet, and I see that certain patch. Let's just say I'm looking up, I got one window where I can just see like kind of a patch of the road. And I just see the road's wet. And so, what do I say? Well, 99% of the time, the streets are wet, it's rain recently. But really, just my neighbor spraying his plants to get on the road. So again, the argument is logically valid, but it is problematic because the this can be true. It is not always true. So we gotta be careful. Logic is a good system. It'll get you the right answers a large amount of time if you use it correctly. But that doesn't mean there's not exceptions. There's exceptions to every rule. If you have a sibling, you may understand this, especially if you're an older sibling. Because there was different rules for you, and then your brother and sister were told the same rules, but when they break them, a lot different outcome. I don't know, I'm rehashing my childhood up here, man. I gotta get out of this. About to go down memory lane. There's some bumps in the road. All right, let's go. All right, so our second problem with Aristotelian logic. I'll tell you this. So again, we're talking about Aristotle today. We're talking, doing a lot of our classes. We'll be talking about Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Today, we're talking about an English philosopher, really of the past 120 years, I guess. Bertrand Russell. He wrote a book called Problems with Philosophy. Aristotelian logic is one of the things he focused on. So, our second issue with Aristotelian logic is syllogisms with faulty conclusions. So, I'll ask a couple questions here. Well, let's look at our example. So, premise A says all men have brains. Ladies, do y'all agree with that? There's not like an overwhelming okay. So it's debatable. The men do have brains. Women have brains. Not everybody uses it. That's the problem. But let's look at basics. All men have brains. Scientifically, that is true. Premise B. All humans have brains. Again, scientifically, that is true. Conclusion. Therefore, all humans are men. Incorrect. Here's the issue here. The reason there's a faulty conclusion and the reason we looked at deductive and inductive reasoning is because we need to take the difference between them is that they go from something general to specific, then conclusion, or something specific to something general, then a conclusion. We have two general premises here. You can't say that 50% of a population is specific. Because again, I don't know. I haven't looked at a good census in a while. Maybe that's what I'll do when I get home today. Maybe I'll look at the census, the world census. I imagine that the split between male female is probably about 50-50. You're taking out one whole part of the population, or you're only accounting for, or you are accounting for half the population. That's not really specific. That's the problem here. Is that neither premise is specific. They're both very general premises. So premise 1 and premise 2, they are both true, but the conclusion is false. The conclusion is false because not all humans are men. There we go. We know that. We know that. You easily looked at this. You easily looked at this argument and said, well, that's stupid. That's not true. Logic's dumb, Mr. Trogan. It can be. It can be, so we got to follow the rules. We got to know the rules. Here's another example. All carrots are orange. Some cats are orange. Therefore, some cats are carrots. Well, that's stupid. That's stupid. That's not true. That's not true. I've never met a cat that is a carrot. Never met a carrot that is a cat. Either way, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, what's the problem here? Again, we're not specific enough. Not specific enough. And we're following too general premises. Way too general premises. All carrots are orange. Again, you're starting off with a very general term. Some cats are orange. Some. What does some mean? What does some mean? What does some mean? Some is still very general. Very general. It's not specific. Therefore, some cats are carrots. Again, issue here, even though we are following our premises, the conclusion is false. It is not foolproof. Logic is not foolproof. Just the same reason that your phone is not foolproof. Yes, sir. I don't care. What other color? Oh, you're true. You're right. We got another problem with this. Premise A ain't true. Not all carrots are orange. Some of them are purple. There we go. I didn't think about that. But again, logic is a mechanical system. It is a mechanical system. This is how your phone is programmed, through logic. Each part has a job to do. It can only do that job. It does not think or act abstractly. It only acts according to its nature. If it is a processor, it processes. That's what it does. It's only action. So again, that's what mechanical systems do. Mechanical systems do. And there are always problems with mechanical systems. You have problems with your car. You have problems with your phone. You have problems with your computer. There's problems everywhere. Logic, again, can be a very good tool, but again, if I'm digging a hole, I'm not using a hammer. All right, next. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what kind of a narcissist puts his own face on his own slideshow? Well, hold on. I'm the example here. I wanted to give you a vision, because not everybody can see. So, issues on the law of the excluded middle. We talked about this the other day. We had some issues with this one in class. We talked about it. We said, hold on, Mr. Trident. I think there's some issues with this. And I did my best to hold down the fort for Aristotle. But there are some problems with the issues on the law, there is some issues with the law of excluded middle. So here's what the law states. The law states that A is either A or it is B. Again, that's Aristotle's mathematical concepts for human life. Either A is either A or it is B. It cannot be somewhat A and somewhat B. Just like, again, they're calling for a high of 58 degrees today. It's either going to be 58 or it's not going to be 58. It's not going to kind of be 58. It's not going to somewhat be 58 degrees at a high. That's impossible. You can say it feels like 58, but either it is 58 or it's not 58. Kind of a warm day for January 21st. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. So, now, it cannot be either somewhat A or somewhat B. So, the real issue here, and again, I highlighted this because I need you to understand this, and we're going to go through some examples, and you'll understand a little bit better here. But either the proposition is true, proposition is A is either A, or its negation is true. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Let's try to understand what that means. Give me a second to understand. So how is this a problem? The problem is usually in how the argument is phrased. Here's an example. I use myself as an example because, well, I think I fixed the mold right here. So here's how we can sometimes phrase this type of argument or question. Either Mr. Trigan is a genius or he is an idiot. Either Mr. Trigan is a genius or he is an idiot. Now, both of those, as we have seen, can be true. Mr. Trigan did some really good things. Mr. Trigan also does some really dumb things. If you don't think that Mr. Trigan does dumb things, just hold on, because he's about to. He's about to. That's kind of his standard mode of operation, is doing stupid things. Every once in a while, he hits something and it's just like, man, yeah, hey, let's get stuck. But most of the time, Mr. Trigan's an idiot. But he's not always an idiot. Sometimes he's smart. Maybe not genius smart. Sometimes he can be smart. Idiots aren't smart. That's kind of what they mean. It's kind of what that term means. So maybe he's a little bit of both. Maybe he's 50-50. Maybe he's 60-40. Maybe he's 99 to 1%. I don't know. I'm anxious to see what comments you guys have for this. But if we rephrase this, now we can understand what is being said. So, first time we said either Mr. Trigan is a genius or he is an idiot. Let's phrase that as it should be phrased. Instead, it should say Mr. Trigan is a genius or he is not a genius. That we can actually, we can come to a conclusion there. Mr. Trigan is not a genius. So therefore, we have an answer. The excluded middle does not exist. The excluded middle does not exist in this argument. So a lot of the times it just comes with how we structure this argument. If you give it either or, I'll give you another example. You know, maybe you've heard this before. You're either for us or you're against us. Well, hold on now. I can not be for you, but also not be fighting against you either. Both of those can somewhat be true. I can back your cause. I can fundamentally support your cause, but not take action for it. So maybe my action says that I disagree with what you're fighting for, but fundamentally I agree with it. So again, there's some leeway there. You could say either you're against us or you're not against us. Okay, then we can actually we can actually measure that a little bit better. I'm not saying perfectly, we can measure a little bit better. Okay. All right, so we got one more thing. I told you I might get on a rant. I think this is going to be it. Hold on to your hats. All right. So we've talked so far about 3 problems with Aristotelian logic. We talked about the problem of false premises. We talked about the problem of false conclusions. We've looked at how the law of the excluded middle could be a problem because, again, how we as human beings tend to phrase our human language. Now we're going to talk about the actual words that make up our human language. I had a good time. I spent an hour researching this, and time flew by because I had a good time doing it. So definitions, I ain't got no pictures for you. I'm sorry. I had too much to say. You don't have to write down the rant. Just make sure you understand it, okay? That was just a little extra thing I wanted to add in there, just to make sure you understand where I was coming from. So, all right, definitions and proper usage of words. This is the biggest problem with Aristotelian logic, okay? Because Aristotelian logic is, as Aristotle put it, it is a mathematical system using human language. But guess what? Again, we have some problems here because if something is mathematical, it has a value that is not changeable. Words. Y'all know that sometimes words change. The meaning of those words changes, or a definition is added to a word. We'll talk about that in a minute. Think about just the idea of a dictionary to begin with. Why do we have dictionaries? Why? Why do you guys think we have dictionaries? Lucas, why do you think we have dictionaries?
Keep up with all the, like what the words mean.
To understand what words mean, right? Okay. Why do we need to understand what words mean?
Because they define specific things in our life.
Yeah, they define specific things in our life. Again, okay, so we need to know what words mean because they define certain things. Why do we need to know that? Why do we need to all have something in common there? So we communicate. Boom, there we go. I'm gonna drop a little knowledge on you, and this is just from experience. If you can't communicate well, and you're married, you're gonna have a hard time. You're gonna have a hard time. Communication is difficult. And when we cannot agree on what certain things mean, it's like we're speaking different languages. There's a reason why people that typically use the same language don't go to war with each other. If you don't believe me, look back throughout world history at major conflicts, major wars, and you'll see a lot of the times people fighting each other from different countries do not speak the same language. You know why? Because they cannot communicate effectively with each other. I'm gonna write a whole book on this. What I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna write it. Because I do believe this. Think about it. You can't communicate with somebody. There's a I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what happened there. There's like a source of tension, right? Because you cannot understand each other. And anything we do not understand, we inherently fear. We fear what we do not understand. You've probably heard that saying before. Have you heard the movie, maybe a TV show? I don't know if you heard it in a book. You don't hear it in a book, you read it in a book. You hear it to yourself internally. Anyway, that's what we say. We fear what we do not understand. When we do not understand somebody because they speak very differently, it's not that we like fear and like cower and hide, but we're uneasy. We don't understand exactly what they're saying. So there is a sense of maybe standoffishness. You don't know the reason? I teach American history too, or I think American history is one. I would say in addition to what I teach. Anyway, the reason there's so much conflict with Native American tribes, like just Native American tribes throughout American, like I'm not talking about like 1776 American history, but the United States, it's talking about like the whole continent of North and South America. There was a lot of warfare going on in North and South America way before the Europeans got here. And then when the Europeans got here, it just made things even worse. Problem, beginning with just the native tribes, is that these tribes are very independent of each other. Yeah, you have large tribes, but you also have a lot of large tribes living independently of each other. They do not have a common language. So there's constant tribal warfare. I'm about to hit you with something. You want to know why? You want to know why the Pilgrims? You want to know how they developed an alliance with one tribe called the Wampanoag tribe? Because one native spoke English. You've heard this native before. His name was Squanto. You've probably heard of Squanto before. The reason he's known in American history is because he taught the Pilgrims how to survive, how to hunt, how to fish, how to farm, because he spoke English. In negotiation, he taught them how to do all that, and the Europeans had guns, had weapons. And so what they did was protect the Wampanoag from other rival tribes. So they formed an alliance simply because one person in this tribe spoke the same language as all the other people in this other quote-unquote tribe, the Europeans. When we don't understand each other, we are much more likely for conflict. That wasn't even my rant. That was just I was feeling it. The rant part comes here. So the reason that the basis of our game's knowledge centers around 2 plus 2 equals 4, right? You've heard that your whole life. When people say things are like crazy, it's like, oh yeah, it's 2 plus 2 equals 5. You know, good joke. Anyways, the reason that is like the basis of our knowledge. Now here's the rant part. You don't have to write this, but I want you to understand. In mathematical logic, 2 can only be 2. That's it, right? Aristotle is trying to take mathematical concepts and mold them, cook them up with human language. Okay? So 2 can only be 2. That's the law of identity we talked about the other day. A can only be A. A cannot be B. A is just A. 2 is just 2. 2 is not 3. 2 is not 4. 2 is not 5. And if you turn it upside down, maybe do a little messing around with it. Maybe you can make it a 2, but it's not really a 2. It's a 5 turned sideways and upside down. Same thing, like when you play cards, and you have like a 6 and a 9. It's like try to. But that 6 is not a 9, nor is that 9 a 6. You're just manipulating it. That's the reason, like math, numbers, that's the reason that you do that in school. If you want to understand why it is that you do math that you'll probably never need before, it's because you're looking at the only thing that is actually, maybe not the only thing, because I don't know everything, but you're looking at something that is concrete, that is not going to change. Guess what? The Pythagorean theorem, that's from over 2,500 years ago. It hasn't changed. Math does not change. Numbers do not change due to the law of identity. And that's what Aristotle's trying to do here. So because 2 is always 2, and because every time you add 2 to itself, a lot of 2's in there, 2 plus 2, every single time you do it, you get one answer, one conclusion. That's 4. That's why and how we use math and logic and how logic uses math. Numbers are that. That's what Aristotle's trying to do. Aristotle was a mathematician at heart. He's trying to make sense of this. So here's the thing. No matter what year it is, no matter where you live, no matter what happens with your girlfriend, what happens with your boyfriend, no matter what job you get, no matter what car you drive, 2 plus 2 is always 4. It is not 5. It is not 3. It's not 0. It is always 4. So the problem that we have with language is that words change. I gave you some examples. I like these examples. Work with these examples for quite some time. Thank you. All right. The problems here is, again, words change. Words either change or they add meanings. They add new definitions. Example, catfish. You think 30 years ago, when people heard the word catfish, they was thinking about some old dude online posed as a girl trying to get a date? No. That's not what catfish meant 30 years ago. It was a fish you caught in the river down by your house, you cooked it up, you ate it. Now, some people still go catfishing. Catfish fishing. I don't know how to word that. We'll get somebody on it. But now that word has an additional meaning. Kind of creepy meaning. Cloud. Be my guest and explain this one to me. I don't know what the cloud is. On my phone, it tells me that you got too much in the cloud. And that just doesn't, I know that it's something has to do with memory, Apple device. I don't know. But guess what? 30 years ago, when you say cloud at the Sprint store, you weren't talking about Sprint around? Yeah, Sprint around 1991? 20 years ago. I know it was around 2001. 20 years ago, you said the word cloud at Verizon or Sprint or wherever. They wasn't talking about some imaginary memory system in the sky. I don't know where it is. Tag. These tag people is playing a game, right? We know that. We know that's how you tag somebody. But now to tag somebody, again, these are technology examples because technology we see ever expanding very quickly. And so, again, words are changing. Tag now it means like Oh, yeah, they were in this picture with me. So I'm like, I'm putting their name on their face on this picture so that they can find it, or other people can find it. That's not what tag meant 20 years ago. Text. Like I told you earlier, I sent my first text message in 2002. Before all you were even born. Does that make you feel young or me feel old? It's the latter. It's the latter. Anyways, 2002 sent my first text. When I told my dad I was sending a text, he had no clue what that meant. And so I explained to him, I'm like, yeah. So I'm writing like this kind of like letter to my friend through the phone, and he can like check it like when he gets time. My dad thought it was the stupidest thing he ever heard of in his life. Why don't you just call them? I'm like, what the? Maybe they're doing something. Well, then they'll call you back later. I'm like, yeah, but then we got to talk to each other. What's wrong with that? Ain't you doing that now? But you just writing it? My dad doesn't talk that country. Like that. But anyways, he didn't understand what it meant. Nor would he, because growing up for him, when he heard the word text, he was thinking about reading or something that was written. My dad don't really like to read all that much either, so he didn't like that. Troll. You know what a troll used to be? They still are. They're still around. Trust me. I've seen them. Troll, guy that lives under a bridge, charges you money to cross that bridge. That's what troll is. Now, troll, you hear the word troll? Think about some jerk on the internet trying to get you riled up for no reason. Just disagree with you. That's a troll today. I think they also live under bridges or in their mother's basement. Tweet. They used to be what birds did, and then like in 2000 and I don't know, I throw a number on there, 2007 maybe, around there, tweet became something that you did on Twitter. Again, first time my grandmother heard of Twitter and heard of tweeting, she had no clue what I was talking about. Huh?
Now it's just really annoying.
Yeah, there you go. You're exactly right. Viral. Viral's a big one. You used to hear the word viral. You're like, oh God, stay away from that person. Right? They were sick, had a virus. Now, with the word viral, what does that mean? Well, that means something got really big and popular. What? But that's not the only example. We do see the most examples in text. Here's some other examples that you may or may not know. Cute. Cute used to not mean good looking. It meant like quick, sharp-witted, because it was based on, and then, there we go, on an acute angle. That's where the word came from, an acute angle. It's sharp, it's quick, this is lazy. Lazy, slow. This is right. Cute, right, too. See, there's math in here. You learn a little bit of everything in here. Triangles, isosceles. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, stoned. Look, you hear somebody got stoned nowadays, you think, man, your imagination. I'll just let you imagine that for a second. Would you say stoned 2,000? There you go, 2,200, don't matter. What people you say? Man, that dude got stoned the other day. You weren't thinking that's had a good, not thinking that's had a pretty wild weekend. No, it's like there were people throwing stones at them trying to kill them. Big difference between being stoned then and stoned today. Big difference. Big difference. Awful. Awful's another one. You want to know? Here's the thing. So awful. Michael, what does awful mean today?
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's disgusting, bad, terrible. You know what awful used to mean? It used to not be spelled quite this way, but we kind of changed it over the years. At first, it had an E right there, something that brought something that was magnificent, something that was glorious. Again, words and their definitions can change. All right, there we go. So that is the problems with Aristotelian logic. That's all I have for you today. Tomorrow you will have a notebook quiz. I will post that first thing in the morning. You'll have the entire weekend to do it. I am grading your notebook quizzes from last week. I finished first block, finishing up yours today during my planning. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's class. I had a great time, as you can tell. If you try to think of anything else. If you're missing anything, make sure, again, you're getting that in. We're getting up with this. We can talk about it. Other than that, hey, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And, hey, that's all I got for you. Make sure you got this written down. Again, you do have to submit your notes with your notebook quiz. Appreciate you. Oh, chat. Ooh, the chat. Let me check the chat. Huh? Oh, okay. What's this? Hold on. Huh. Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on here. 49.2% of the population is male. Thank you, Thomas. And technically, a male brain doesn't develop. Oh, okay. Hold on now. They still have them. We don't have to. Okay. I'm 30. Mine's as good as it's gonna get. That face looks like something for a meme. He looks like he's in the White House. Congratulations. Hey, Lucas, dude. Yeah. Extra credit. He looks lost while playing a board game. God, I don't even get me started on Allison. It looks like he's saying, well, did you commit a crime? Tried in space. Well, okay. He definitely is a genius. Okay. I like where this is going, for sure. Okay. And then I don't know. Then the whole letter thing from yesterday. What is the theme we are going to argue about? Oh, okay. Yeah. They're arguing about, yeah. Okay. I like it, Allison. I like it, Reagan. Yeah, just that's what people did. People just talk crap to each other using letters. And they're all in caps. So I can tell y'all are really mad at each other. All right, that was fun. I think what we'll do from now on, like I need somebody to just monitor the chat. Lucas, you want that to be your job next week?
Sure.
Can you be chat man? There was a song back in the 90s called Scat Man. You ever heard that?
Oh, I very
Okay. We're not going to call you that. We'll call you Chat Man. We'll sing it the same way. Beep, bop, bop. Okay, hang on, I'm going to stop. All right. Good deal. All right. Thank you, Allison, Parker, and Reagan, for keeping the chat entertaining for your classmates. I am going to stop presenting, though. I am going to end this. So, y'all three that are still on, hey, I'll see you on Monday. Unless you got a question. If you got a question, okay. You don't have a question. Okay. All right, never mind.